Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. This is episode 3 of doing the wood for the 32.5 window coupe. Hopefully it's the last one. We can wrap it up. There's quite a bit of stuff to do. On the last episode, what we ended it with was making the front piece of the wood that goes into the roof, and I showed you fitting it on the car. Obviously, there's more pieces to make for it. So I've been working in a shop a little bit before I filmed this, but basically I made the back piece, which you can see underneath here. I have the original pieces laid on top here because I'm actually fitting the sides, but what I did, there's a back piece that goes in the back of the coupe. So made that out of out of red oak. Basically took a little more than 2-inch wide piece and had to cut the slope onto it over on the bandsaw and then sand it to the right thickness. Then had to notch the ends. So once I did that, then I was, as you can see here, it's notched on the back piece. I started making the side pieces. The side pieces have, I guess, sweeps going this way, and a sweep going that way, and then there's 3 holes here for the strips that go across the top. So right now what I'm doing, since I successfully made this piece and fitted it here, I'm going to now make the opposite side over here and fit it the same. I have my blanks all cut out right now. So what I'll do is I'll take that piece off, I'll flip it upside down, lay it out on this, and then I'll try and fit, well, I will fit the other side here, and then checking back and forth on the original piece basically to make sure I got the right dimensions and the right shape. If I take the original piece and take the clamps off, I've actually got the right shape here. One of the things is when the side pieces made up with the back pieces, it's basically going to be smooth because the sheet metal is basically going to nail or screw all the way around this. So like I said, what I'll do, I'll make that piece, I'll put the screws in, I'll sand it off, I'll get it all ready, and then it'll go in as one piece over on the 5-window coupe. So I'm going to carry on working on this and keep you updated on as I get through it. Here's where we are so far with the roof wood for the 32.5 window coupe. I've assembled the 4 pieces and I've put screws in all 4 corners in basically the same position as the originals are. So it's screwed together. There's another piece that is required for it. There's a brace that goes in the bottom corner here. So that's made up. There are 3 screws that go into it. 2 here goes into the back piece, and 1 that goes over into the side piece. So that's done on both sides. These are not glued together. They're just basically drilled and screwed. We've got all the countersunks done on both side pieces for the bows that go across the side here. And one thing with this, when it goes together, I don't know if you can see very well on the camera there, but these corners and everything has to be basically smooth and continuous when it goes together, because basically the sheet metal is going to be nailing along here. So it's got to be smooth and continuous all the way around. So when I did those joints, I made them as close as I could, and then I used the belt sander to kind of just smooth it down so everything is even along the way. So the sheet metal doesn't go on these supports here, but it goes along the 4 pieces. There's still more work I have to do on this first piece. One of them is I only have 1 original bow here. That bow goes in the first position like that. So I'll tilt that up again for the camera lady. So I'm going to make 1 here. There's 3 different sizes, and I think actually the shape of them slightly different. So I'm going to have to experiment a little bit with the way that's shaped, because at the front of the car, this shape is less dramatic than the back. There's much more a curve to the back. So I'll have to play with that a little bit. I'll make the first one, go to the second one, which is longer, the third one, which is longer still. Another thing, there's actually a hole that goes through the sides here because there's a bracket that goes from this section to the wood that goes on the top of the doors. So I'm going to carry on with this. I'm actually going to try and make up the second set for the New York Coupe, so I'll have both of these done at the same time while everything's kind of fresh in my memory, and also as I have good patterns. So going to keep chugging along with this, make the bows up, and hopefully get her fitted in the car. Here we are. I have the 3 roof bows made for the top. I've got them screwed in place. Like I just said, I started with an original piece. Tried to replicate the shape of the original piece. It's just basically made out of a piece of 3/4 inch oak, or you can use ash, or you can use maple, as I said earlier. Get the right shape to it, and then on the ends it's just basically drilled with a 5/8 countersink and a 1/8 through hole, and I've got size number 10 screws holding it in place. So there's the top. That's what it looks like. It's all in one piece. It's kind of like, you can actually buy them all pre-assembled like this, and it goes into the car in one piece. Actually just watched an Iron Trap video from over a year ago where he bought one of these for the Scroll Coupe, and he put it in place, and he had to basically shape even the wood that was on it. So hopefully I won't have as much trouble installing my custom fit one into our Moncton Coupe outside in a couple minutes, but we're going to go do that now. So I'm going to try installing this live on camera. I had positioned it earlier in place just to kind of see that it, sanity check wise, without the bows into it. So let's see how this goes. It really should just fit in and not have any problems. I know the camera lady probably can't see me right now, but I am inside the car, and it should go. There's a couple clamps falling down, but put this in place. No, I'm not talking too much, but I'm trying to get it in here and see how it fits. Put these back clamps in. I'm going to have to tap it forward a little bit here with the hammer. The mic is falling off because I was moving around so much. So, sorry about that. Actually, it fits pretty good. It's got to go forward a little bit more. I'm going to tap that in place. And then what I'm going to do is measure it side to side, make sure it's in there. And along the top here, there's actually screws that goes through the metal into the wood. But even though it's not perfectly in place now, I'm going to, like I said, I'll tap it in place. I'll clamp it all the way around, put the screws into it, and show you here in a few minutes when it's all done. as you saw in a time lapse, I positioned the wood in, I tapped it side to side, got it where I wanted, and I started slowly working my way around putting the screws to screw it in place. I didn't have enough screws. I'm going to have to go to the hardware store tomorrow to get the rest of the screws to put it in. But, you know, with the screws up from the metal onto the wood, you know, it's really tightened up the whole roof and the structure, which is what it did. There's a few more things I have to tidy up with this. There's a bracket. I'm not sure if the camera lady can see it from where she is. A little metal bracket right here that attaches to the top of the wood on the door, and it goes to this hole here that we've drilled through the roof wood. That's what the bracket looks like, but it still needs to be cleaned up and put a coat of paint onto it before I put those in place. But that's another thing that ties everything together. So on this episode, pretty much tied up doing the roof wood, everything it takes to basically make it and install it. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Sorry the video is a little short this week, but we've been tied up working on another episode, which is the 32 Roadster upholstery project. Coming up on the 32 5-window coupe, there's a little bit more wood to do to finish off the interior. In the back of the car, around the window, there's a couple simple little pieces. This piece here has to be replaced, and maybe these side pieces, but it's basically straight. It's not going to be any kind of nasty, curvy, multi-dimensional pieces, so I should be able to cover that quite quickly, fixing those up. And then over here on a New York coupe, I realized there's another wood trim piece that goes on the underside. I'm not more sure what you call this, but we didn't have this piece over on the Moncton coupe. It's a trim piece. It actually, the pieces we just put in were the pieces that went above here around the roof, but there's a trim piece here. I think it's for upholstery. Doesn't look overly complicated, but I'm going to have to take the screws out of here on the New York coupe to get that one out in order to replicate it for the Moncton coupe. So that's it for this episode. That's what's coming up. Hopefully you enjoyed. Please send me any questions or comments. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe as always. Everybody have a great week. Take care.